much more the woman can offer. And you keep sipping and sipping, never really finishes. That is the woman. And we're really proud of it, which is why we have actually brought you this program, The Woman on NTA, to keep showcasing the strength, the qualities of the woman, and of course, role modeling as well. Talking of which, I have a lady who is an embodiment of a whole lot of things for me put together. She has done a tremendous job, in a lot of places. We'll get to find out all that when the program starts full time. For now, I take a break. When we come back, I showcase my guest.
I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husbands are our firstborns. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
It's not only about work, it's not only about family. They need to take the time to look after themselves, and we don't. We don't do that.
They took my money. I paid every fees. I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Empowered to women.
Yes,
we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely. All right, I have with me in the studio a woman I'll call a mother of so many, a woman who never gives up. She is very well known in a lot of places, but I know you did tremendous well in Borno State. Join me as I welcome Dr. Salma Anaskolo. Nice to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, I want to know, really, I introduce you as a medical practitioner. And a lot of people have actually gone and studied and got the qualification, MBBS, but they just got comfortable doing the job, the daily job, going to consult, going to do this. But you took it an inch further, extra mile further. What's your, your motivation point? What's your propeller?
Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth. I'm happy to be with you again. Well, my motivation is right from medical school. I think I chose the profession because I want to touch lives. I grew up in Borno in a community where I see a lot of sufferings, especially amongst women and children. I have witnessed a lot of women dying as a result of pregnancy and childbirth. And I have witnessed a lot of cousins, relations, marrying very early. And then sometimes I used to think, why are they marrying them very early? And I used to tell my mom, I will not want to get married and I will not want to have a child if it means people will die as a result of that. She said, no, this is not the routine. It happens once in a while. So I said, let me go into the medical profession. I used to admire a nurse, an auntie, whom I said, I want to be a nurse because I want to help people. And she said, but you can be a medical doctor. You're a very good student. So that was how I went into the medical profession. It's quite interesting in the medical school when we were asked to do our project. I said, I want to study my dissertation, diarrheal diseases among children under 5. And the professor, our lecturer, asked, why do you want to do that? There are so much you can do. I said, no, because I witnessed a lot of children dying in the families, in our community. He said, good, go ahead and do it. And I did that. So after graduating, I did my housemanship still within Maiduguri Township, one of the state specialist hospital, which has a lot of burden of women and children, and a lot of people attending clinics there. And I observe when you go to the pediatric ward, almost 90% of the bed admissions are children under 5. And most of them are admitted as a result of diarrhea, respiratory tract infections, fever, and then a lot also as a result of malnutrition. And then we start counseling, talking to the parents. And most of them are ignorant. They don't know the type of food to give. They don't know even how they should breastfeed their children. They don't know it is important to breastfeed children for the first 6 months of life. Without anything, a child can survive just on breast milk. So I developed interest in that. And one day we had one of these, a rich Shua Arab man. We have a lot of Shua Arabs in Borno. And he brought his child, and I told him, you are very rich and your child is malnourished. And he said, yes, it's the carelessness maybe of the mother, because she is not taking him to hospital, she's not giving him the right food. So I asked him, what is the right food? And he said, you know, we make all these very sugary things and we feed the baby with. And I said, but that is not just the right food. The baby had to take a lot of proteins. And he said, but I can afford all this. Nobody ever told me. And we said, okay, bring a lot of eggs to the baby. And since that day, he was bringing 2 cartons of egg to the pediatric ward for the children. So it really touched my heart. So you see, it's a lot of ignorance. So that was when after finishing, and then I said, well, I can't just sit there. In fact, I started pediatrics. I got my primaries in pediatric. Then I said, I can't just stay in the hospital and wait for patients to come. I need to go out there to the community and enlighten my people. Let them know the right thing to do. Let us avert the problems. We don't wait until illness happens. I want to do more of health promotion, disease prevention before it happens. So that was how I got into community medicine. And I changed, and I just started doing the primaries in community medicine, went to UCH, and I started the program.
You know, when I actually had the opportunity of interview you some time ago, and when I tried to read your biodata then, somebody told me that even before you went to the medical school, you were never daunted about anything. And then upon graduating, you practiced. And I was wondering, were you not scared, you know, with what you were seeing, you know, going into being a mother yourself? I know you're a mother of 5. How are the twins doing?
They're doing fine.
All right, so you were not stopped. You know, a lot of people get scared when they see a lot of bad things happening to people. They don't want to partake of it. You know, they decide to provide solution, but you were not daunted. Why not?
I wasn't daunted because I believe we can change the situation.
Okay.
I believe I want to change how things happen, and this is something I learned from my dad, because he always touched the lives of people, and also from my mom. So I said, I need to go into that profession to see how we can make people live better, how we can make children survive. And that was the driving. That was what really helped me to be into that profession. And I wasn't scared of the workload. You know, a lot of people in those days will say, you need to do a lot of reading. Medicine is very difficult. I said, I don't know human beings that are reading medicine. I used to say, I have one head and they have one head. So it's how you use your head. That is what will take you to where it is. So as long as human beings are doing it, I think I can do it. And as soon as I finished my first degree, MBBS, I have never felt that is enough. In fact, that is the beginning. And immediately within my NYSC, I got my primaries in public health. I sat for the exams. That was the first time I traveled to Ibadan. I wasn't scared, and it was a beautiful place with beautiful people. So I joined them. I did the revision courses, and then I came back and I passed the exam for the first time that I sat for the exams.
That's good.
So on the family side, I remember I was the final exams for my postgraduate medical school. I was heavily pregnant, so I was able to go through it like that. And that was my first child. And then I came back for the graduation ceremony. He was 2 months old.
Oh.
Yes, he was 2 months old. And a lot of my professors that time called him Rotimi. Yes. So for me, it gives me joy because it has not deterred me, because I always feel I have limited time. So whatever I do, I have to make best use of time. If I read, I make sure I read very well and understand it, because I may not be able to come back again to read again. I don't have the time.
It's not always easy to combine pregnancy, nursing, and education. I know what you're talking about. But now, back to Borno State. At a point, you were the Commissioner for Health.
Yes.
I was between 2011 and 2015.
Yeah.
And about that time, we had the heat of the Boko Haram and the Chibok girls issue. I kept wondering, as a Commissioner for Health, how did you handle it?
Well, it was a very difficult moment for me. Initially, we were denying, but it's a fact, it happened. It was a reality. And I think I was among the very first to know that it was a reality as of that time, because I was responsible for coordination of the all health sector activities in the state. The medical doctor called me when we had this, and he said that almost 50-something children came back out of the 200 and something abducted. And I said, where are they? He said, they are all in his clinic. And I said, immediately we have to embark on psychosocial counseling. We have to screen all of them. We have to rule out HIV. We have to screen of all the common diseases that happens and embark on psychosocial management and trauma management. So it's a reality. And I asked him, what are the gaps that we have? So he mentioned all the challenges that we have. And immediately I was there, and we started rehabilitating some of those girls that were rescued, or they came back on their own. So it was a very difficult moment. So for me, what baffles me the most is when people deny and say it didn't happen, and said it's politics. This is beyond politics. These are human beings. These are my daughters. I call them, they are my daughters. Because and I know their parents. Some of them I even know their parents. So it was terrible. We even invited the parents, and we did a lot of psychosocial counseling. Initially, I called all the community leaders in Chibok. We did psychosocial counseling. Some even lost their lives. We had a chief imam that lost his life because he lost almost 7 members of his house, his children and his cousins. And you know, in that part of the world, we live in a family, extended family system. So he lost almost 10 to 7 kids in his house. So it's a reality. But then the denial, I decided that in collaboration with our team there, we have to do something about it. And nobody wants to listen to us from the state level. When you come to the federal level, they just say it's politics. And it pains me a lot. You know, you cry, but I said, look, crying will not help us. We just have to do something. So I work because I have experience working with the development partners. Before going to Borno, I was with UNFPA. So I had the opportunity to work with a lot of development partners, especially civil society organizations. So I contacted the civil society organization, and we had a meeting with them. And my friend Lola Ogmagugunje mobilized almost over 40 civil society organizations. And I briefed them on the reality, and a lot of them believed. And that was how we raised the voice. And then people started believing it's true, it's true. This is not about policy. This is not a gameplay. This is a reality. And then I'm happy the Bring Back Our Girls came as a result of that. And now it has become a very powerful voice that has made a lot of difference in getting things done. And I'm also glad that the federal government has been able to recover a significant number of these young girls. But our prayers are that all the girls will come back.
They will definitely come back. We believe that. Let's not end on a sad note. We want to believe that they'll come back. We want to see them reunited with their family. But for now, the woman continues. We'll take a short break and be right back. Don't go away.
They took my money. I paid every fees. I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Power to women. Yes, we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely. The program is The Woman. If you're just joining us, I have a lovely doctor who has been intimating us with a lot of her activities at the moment, and then even before now, when she was a commissioner for health in Borno State. But I'd like to know, you worked a whole lot, Dr. Salma, with the civil societies, and you also worked a whole lot with women and children. I'd like to know, being a woman yourself, what are the perceived challenges you think those women have trying to ensure that good health, solid health is brought to their families?
Well, the challenges are not only for women in the inability of women to access quality health services. It's a totality. If you look at it from the government commitment and children, knowing that women and children are vulnerable groups, most of them. Significantly, they are vulnerable groups. They cannot pay for services. And we know that paying for healthcare services is very significant. It takes almost more than 70% of our earnings. So it has to be provided free to women and children at no cost. And that we have not reached that level. I'm glad that we have a bill that has been passed, the National Health Act, and we are working towards the implementation of that bill. It has been so slow in the past several years. So our hope is that it is realized so that women will have access to services. So first we have to have that government commitment at all levels, not only at the federal. We did quite a lot when I was commissioner in Borno from 2011, because we even piloted. We were providing free maternal, newborn and child health services to women and children at no cost, and it was working effectively. We were fighting polio as of that time, before the reemergence of polio currently. I remember Borno is one of the first few states also that were having the highest burden of polio in Nigeria, to interrupt the transmission of polio, and we even got the Bill and Melinda Gates Award as of that time. Well, other challenges is about the community itself. And who controls the community? The community are controlled by the influential people in community. And when I say that, they are the community leaders, they are the religious leaders. And significantly, of course, they are our men. In the recent program that I just resigned about a month ago, which was funded by DFID, the government of the United Kingdom, it was a great program, and it was making a lot of impact on the lives of women and children, because it's a technical assistance project, but it also empowers the community, apart from strengthening the primary healthcare facilities and providing free commodities, drugs, and basic equipment. We were empowering communities in a way that they are recognized, they are involved, and are taking the front lead in providing healthcare services. And it is amazing, we realize that even communities are interested in it. They were mobilizing their own resources, strengthening facilities in terms of water supply, in terms of electricity supply to the facilities, even recruitment of human resources for health. We had communities in Kano that were doing that, and even provision of drugs. And so you see, this is empowerment of communities. And we had this also very interesting program where we empower transport workers, because we partner with the National Union of Road Transport Workers. And these are everywhere, they are in all communities. So we mobilize, we build their communities, and they are volunteering at no cost, saving lives of women. And how do they
when
do
they're
that?
in labor, to bring them to the hospital?
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, one of the major causes of maternal mortality is also the barrier is access to facility because of distance and lack of
I'm wondering,
transport.
how do you cope with, because I had a recent case, where a woman, needed to have a baby and needed a blood. And she said, no, her religion does not support it. Her belief does not support it. I don't think things like that really come up.
It does.
Some will tell you we don't go to hospitals and all that. When you have such cases with you, how do you manage to,
It happens a lot. And this is part of what we do with the community religious leaders. We enlighten the religious leaders and let them understand it's about life. And without blood, the woman will not survive. Without her being at the health facility in a timely manner, the woman will not survive. Without even having the right skills of human resources to deliver the services, your women and children will not survive. So this is where we take it. So once we have an enlightened community and religion, no religion wants to see their women and children dying. So I believe it's all out of ignorance. So with that, it helps a lot. And then a lot of counseling also to the women themselves. So women are counseled, women are enlightened. So that is why we always advocate early attendance to ANC. As soon as you realize you are pregnant, it's very important that the woman report to start antenatal care services. Because apart from the services given, part of it is also information and enlightenment. So another interesting thing that we did that worked very well.
Remember what happens in antenatal? When I had to do that the first time, it was an eye-opener.
Yes.
They taught you how to, if you have to go to work, how to express the milk and give to the baby, how to clean the ear and all that. And I was wondering, where are this coming from? But when the baby finally came, it was quite useful.
Yeah.
I was grateful I didn't miss it.
It's quite interesting. And, involving the women themselves, because women can also be a barrier to themselves.
Yes.
So what we did not neglect the women. And remember, we have a huge number of people, especially women, that still serve as traditional birth attendants.
Yes.
So what we do was to train them to redirect their energy into identifying women, doing a lot of education, awareness, and referring them to health facilities. Working also with those people that we call the emergency transport workers to transport women to facilities.
I've been following you for a while, you know that. Even though we don't get to talk much. And I knew that in all the years you worked, your very active years, one thing you didn't take lightly was your home. You were making babies, you were training them, You were doing so much on your job. And at a point, I asked one of your friends, how does she cope? This woman is everywhere, and I hear again she has a set of twins. That's 8 years ago.
Yes.
So how were you able to, juggle all this together?
Well, I will say, as we say, Alhamdulillah, it's by the glory of God. Honestly, I can't see how it has worked, but I think my strength has been God, and that determination also, He drives me to get it done. But also, very importantly, I think I got a very good family support, which is very important. My husband was very supportive, and also my mom was very supportive, because I've been living with my mom for quite a long time now. And then my friends understand what I do. So like a lot of school activities, if I can't go, I have a very good friend who participates, and she said, okay, I will take up. So I think the system that we have in Nigeria is an advantage for us.
It's a beautiful one.
It's a beautiful one, which I really will want us to maintain it. Yes. At whatever
all this
cost.
Talk about civilization.
Exactly. And it's something that we should hold on to and should never allow it to disintegrate.
I, for one, will hold on to it because it's actually paid off for me. Yeah. And I believe every other person who's benefited from it will ensure that you don't get to lose it. Yeah. But I'm wondering, you've worked for different organizations, done a lot of things. What has been the most challenging of them all for you? Your challenging moments in your career?
Well, I think the most challenging was, I would say, is managing the humanitarian crisis. Nigeria, we are not prepared for it. I think we have never witnessed such a huge calamity, and we are not prepared for it. So it happened. And then I just found myself doing it while I was Commissioner of Borno at the peak of the crisis, 2013. And when I left 2015, it's something that has really become part of me, and it's something that I really want to continue to do. So when I came back to the Ministry of Health, with the support of the Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Adewale, who is also very passionate about managing humanitarian crisis, he also encouraged me, and we set up the humanitarian crisis desk to have an effective coordination of all humanitarian crisis response, especially in the Northeast. So that was the beginning of it, because we were not doing so well. We're still not perfect in it up till today, because we are still struggling. But I think we have taken a step further in terms of getting things done. We got a lot of partners coming in with all sorts of support and willingness to support you. But we were not able to have an effective coordination, getting things done. And then some also take advantage of what is happening and also dump like medicines to you that are not useful. I remember I've had an experience where chloroquine was dumped to us, which was not also useful. Some people have dumped even expired drugs.
Like seriously, expired drugs?
Expired drugs.
Oh,
so you see, we have to. So I felt that we just have to have an effective coordination of the health sector response for humanitarian crisis. It's the largest that has ever happened to us in Nigeria, I believe. So I think that was the most challenging moment for me. But we were able to go through it, come up with a very good strategic plan and the health sector framework, which is guiding now what is happening in the Ministry of Health. And because of what I saw also during that time, the most affected are the women and children.
Usually.
Yes, the most affected vulnerable groups. And then also the elderly, because I was there when we started setting up the camps. We started setting up the clinics within the camps with the support of all our development partners, and also the state government was at the forefront of it. But you can see the sufferings of women. There was a day I took a picture of about 11 women that had 11 sets of twins.
11 women, 11 sets of twins. That's 22 children.
Twins, yes, on their way from Burma just to reach the IDP camp.
Oh, no.
I still have their pictures. And that made me to say, how do they feel? Because the women are also malnourished. So we started preparing nutritious food for them, kunu and maimai, and then the granite pap and all that. So there's so much to do, and that was quite challenging to me.
I must say thank you. And I know at the moment you're rested. My time is up, but I'm quick to ask, what is your plan next? What are we expecting? Because Dr. Salma has to just bring something on board.
Yes, I think I am still planning, and I'm still thinking of how do I make the maximum impact on the lives of Nigerians, especially women and children. Just like I decided in the past, I can't just sit in the clinic and be waiting for sick patients to come. I have to go out. And I think now I have gone out. I have been part of program development at all levels, international, UN, the government of Nigeria, and I've worked in other countries as well. So I think it's also beyond that. It's also, I think we need to have our hands at the level of policy making, at the level of legislation. So I don't know, but I'm just thinking things just have to happen.
Okay.
Things just have to happen.
Right.
So we pray to Almighty Allah to continue to guide our steps in the right direction so that we make the maximum impact.
Amen. Things will happen. And as long as I know I'm talking with Dr. Salma, things will definitely happen. Thank you for coming on board. And we're looking forward to those things that will be happening soon from your corridors. That has been it, The Woman. My name is Elizabeth. Please do join us again next time for another exciting moment with another very exciting personality. Be good citizens while you wait.
Doctors or that are not married and they're doing these incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. I think first of all we have to go back to
the writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
And I said, let's pick them up. Let's take them back to Nigeria and let's teach them a different kind of job.
Lives are in your hands while you drive.